Some songs are written not for charts, but for eternity. When Taylor Swift walked onto the Tonight Show stage with that graceful presence and authentic vulnerability that had made her the world's most beloved storyteller, nobody expected her to reveal the most heartbreaking chapter of her secret mission. Jimmy Fallon had planned a celebratory interview about Taylor's record-breaking tour and latest musical achievements. The audience was ready for the infectious energy and heartfelt stories that always came with a Taylor Swift appearance. But what Taylor was about to confess would silence Studio 6B and prove that sometimes the most important songs are written not for millions of fans, but for single dying children who need one final beautiful memory before they close their eyes forever. The cameras were rolling, the audience already enchanted by Taylor's magnetic warmth, and then she spoke 15 words that changed everything. I write final songs for kids who are dying because music should be their last beautiful memory. What came next wasn't just television. It was a revelation about legacy, love, and the sacred power of songwriting to create eternal connections between souls that transcend even death itself. Taylor Swift had always been known for her storytelling genius and emotional authenticity, the artist who transformed personal experiences into universal anthems, who made millions feel understood through her intimate songwriting. But what audiences didn't know was that Taylor's understanding of music's healing power had been shaped by her own childhood experience losing her beloved grandmother to cancer, and that trauma had awakened a calling to ensure that dying children's final moments would be filled with personalized music that could comfort both them and their families forever. The Last Song Legacy project had begun 8 years earlier, during a period when Taylor was reflecting on her grandmother's death and how music had been their strongest connection during those final painful months. The memory of singing to her grandmother in hospice care and seeing how songs could provide comfort when medical treatment couldn't had given her profound insight into what families needed during their darkest hours. My grandmother and I shared this special bond through music, Taylor later explained with tears. During her cancer treatment, when she was in pain and scared, I would sing to her old songs she loved, new songs I was writing. In those moments, music became medicine. It was the only thing that could reach her when everything else felt hopeless. And terminal childhood illness affects thousands of families annually, creating devastating situations where parents must watch their children face death while struggling to create meaningful final memories. These families often feel helpless, wanting to give their dying children something beautiful and lasting, but lacking the resources or expertise to create personalized legacy gifts. These families are living through their worst nightmare, Taylor said with obvious emotion. They're watching their children die, and they want desperately to give them something special, something that will show how much they're loved, something that will last forever. Music can be that gift, but most families don't know how to create it. Taylor's first encounter with a terminally ill child had been through Make-A-Wish Foundation, where she met 7-year-old Lily, who was in final stages of leukemia and had requested to meet Taylor not for a concert, but to ask if Taylor could write a song that Lily's baby brother could listen to when he missed her after she was gone. Lily was so weak she could barely speak, but she was worried about her little brother, who didn't understand why she was sick. Taylor remembered. With heartbreak, she asked me to write a song that would help him remember her voice, her love, her promise to always be watching over him. She wanted to leave him something beautiful instead of just memories of her being sick. That conversation had revealed the unique desire of dying children to create legacy gifts for their families, not just to be remembered, but to continue providing comfort and love even after they were gone. Lily told me something that changed my life, Taylor recalled with tears. She said, I want my brother to have a song that sounds like a hug for me, so when he's sad, he can listen to it and feel like I'm still there. How do you say no to a dying 7-year-old who wants to leave love behind? working with child life specialists and music therapists who specialized in end-of-life care. Taylor had developed an approach that created completely personalized songs for terminally ill children, incorporating their voices, their words, their specific messages to family members into professionally produced music that could serve as permanent legacies. These aren't just songs, Taylor emphasized. These are musical love letters from dying children to the people they're leaving behind. Each song captures the child's voice, their personality, their specific messages of love and comfort. Families get to keep their child's voice and heart forever. Over 8 years, Taylor's Last Song Legacy project had created 127 personalized songs for children facing terminal diagnoses. Each song was written, recorded, and produced specifically for one child and their family, incorporating their unique story, relationships, and final wishes into music that would outlive their physical presence. I worked with this 9-year-old boy named Alex who was dying from brain cancer, Taylor remembered with tenderness. Alex loved astronomy and wanted his parents to know that he wasn't scared of dying because he believed he was going to become a star. We created a song called Alex's Constellation where he sang about watching over his family from the night sky. The recording process with Alex had been profoundly moving, as Taylor helped him craft lyrics that expressed his love for his parents while also providing them with comfort for their future grief. Alex sang about how every time his parents looked at the stars, they would see him smiling down at them, Taylor explained with tears. He recorded a verse specifically for each parent, telling them what he loved most about them and how proud he was to be their son. That song became their most treasured possession. The approach worked because it gave dying children agency in creating their own legacy while providing families with permanent, beautiful reminders of their children's love that could comfort them through years of grief. There was this 11-year-old girl named Emma who was dying from a rare genetic condition, Taylor shared with emotion. Emma was an amazing singer herself and wanted to record a duet with me that her younger sister could listen to when she felt lonely. Emma's song had been particularly special because it featured both Emma and Taylor harmonizing on a piece about sisterly love that would endure beyond death, creating a musical bridge between the sisters that would last forever. Emma and I wrote Sister Stars together, where she sang about how sisters are connected by invisible threads that death can't break, Taylor said with pride. Emma's voice on that recording is pure love. Her sister, who's now 16, still listens to it every night and says it feels like Emma is still singing her to sleep. The most profound impact came when families realized that these songs had transformed their experience of losing a child from purely tragic to also beautiful, giving them permanent access to their children's voices and love whenever they needed comfort. Alex's parents told me that Alex's Constellation saved their marriage, Taylor said with tears. They said that in their darkest moments of grief, listening to Alex sing about loving them and watching over them reminded them that they still had something to live for, honoring his memory and staying connected to his love. Several families had reported that Taylor's songs had become central parts of their healing process, providing comfort not just immediately after their children's deaths, but for years afterward during birthdays, holidays, and difficult moments when grief felt overwhelming. Tonight's appearance on The Tonight Show was supposed to focus on Taylor's record-breaking tour success and her latest album achievements. Jimmy had planned to discuss her incredible career milestones, maybe get her to share some tour stories, definitely tap into the inspiring energy that made her such a beloved figure. The interview had started with Taylor's characteristic warmth and genuine humility despite her massive success. She had shared insights about her recent achievements, discussed her approach to connecting with fans, and demonstrated the authentic caring that had made her one of the most respected artists of her generation. But when Jimmy asked about what had been most meaningful to Taylor beyond chart success and whether her music had created any particularly special connections with fans, something shifted in her expression. The question had been meant to explore her fan relationships, but it had touched on something much more sacred that Taylor had been considering sharing publicly for the first time. You know, Jimmy, Taylor said, her voice taking on unusual gravity, the most meaningful songs I've ever written aren't the ones that have reached number one. They're the ones that have reached dying children who needed something beautiful to leave behind for the people they love. The audience grew completely silent, sensing that Taylor was moving into territory that was more profound than her usual discussions about songwriting and fan connections. That sounds like you have some very personal experience creating music for people in extremely difficult situations, Jimmy said with genuine curiosity and deep respect. Taylor was quiet for a moment, her usual confident energy replaced by profound vulnerability. I do. And it started with losing my grandmother and realizing that music was the only thing that could comfort her when she was dying, and that led me to understand what other families going through the same thing might need. The studio was completely focused on Taylor's words now, the energy shifting from entertainment to something much more meaningful and sacred. Taylor, it sounds like you're creating music specifically for families dealing with terminal illness, Jimmy said softly. Taylor's eyes filled with tears, a sight that was particularly powerful coming from someone known for her strength through public scrutiny and personal challenges. For 8 years, I've been writing and recording personalized songs for children who are dying, complete original songs that capture their voices, their love for their families, their final messages, music that will let their families hear their children's voices forever. The audience was completely silent now, witnessing a side of Taylor Swift that transcended her celebrity, the profound love of someone who had transformed her own grief into eternal gifts for other families facing similar loss. Jimmy, can I tell you about something that's taught me what music really means? Taylor asked, her voice growing stronger despite her tears. Please, Jimmy replied, clearly understanding that something extraordinary was being shared. Taylor took a deep breath and spoke directly to the camera with the sincerity that had made her trusted by millions. I create personalized legacy songs for terminally ill children through my Last Song Legacy project, 127 songs over 8 years for kids who are dying, helping them leave behind music that will comfort their families forever. Jimmy's expression changed completely as he grasped what Taylor was describing. You're writing individual songs for dying children. I'm helping children create musical love letters to the people they're leaving behind, Taylor replied with conviction. These kids want to leave something beautiful for their families, something that will show their love continues even after they're gone. Music can carry that love forever. Tears were streaming down Jimmy's face. Can you tell us about one of these children? Lily was 7 when I met her, Taylor said, her voice becoming infinitely tender. She was dying from leukemia and asked me to write a song for her baby brother, something that would feel like a hug from her after she was gone. Taylor paused, gathering herself to continue with the same care she brought to her songwriting. We created Lily's Lullaby, where she sang about how much she loved him and promised to watch over him from heaven. Lily recorded it just weeks before she passed away, and her brother, who's now 10, still listens to his sister's voice singing him to sleep every night. How do these families respond to having these permanent recordings of their children? Jimmy asked through his tears. They tell me these songs save their lives during the darkest moments of grief, Taylor replied with profound understanding. When everything feels impossible, when they miss their child so much they can't breathe, they can listen to their baby's voice singing about love that never dies. It transforms their loss from purely tragic to also beautiful. The audience was openly emotional, many people crying as they witnessed this revelation about Taylor's private work, creating musical legacies for dying children. Taylor, how has this work changed your understanding of what it means to be a songwriter? Jimmy asked. It's taught me that the most important songs aren't the ones that make you famous. They're the ones that make love permanent, Taylor replied with wisdom earned through years of working with dying children. These kids showed me that music isn't just entertainment. It's a way of making sure that love survives even when bodies don't. As the segment concluded, something unprecedented happened. The entire studio audience rose in sustained applause that lasted over 7 minutes, but it wasn't just appreciation for a performance. It was recognition of art transformed into eternal love, acknowledgement that they had witnessed someone using their greatest gift to ensure that dying children's love would never be silenced. Taylor's revelation became one of the most profound Tonight Show segments in the program's history, inspiring conversations about childhood terminal illness, the power of music to provide comfort during grief, and the responsibility that comes with having artistic gifts. Most importantly, Taylor's disclosure had shown that sometimes the greatest songs are never heard by stadium crowds, but are treasured by single families who need to hear their child's voice one more time, proving that music's highest purpose is not fame or fortune, but the ability to make love last forever.